Hi, welcome to Eye Openers. I'm your host, Brittany Drozd, and each week I bring you insightful conversations with entrepreneurs that will help you make more money, become a strong leader, and build a business culture that you're proud of. Grab your coffee and let's dive in. Hello and welcome to Eye Openers. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. As you know, this podcast would be just me talking to myself if it wasn't for you guys listening in. So I super appreciate all of your attention and your interest to this podcast and the feedback I've been getting from you guys. I really, really value it. No matter where you are listening to this, there's going to be a link for you to contact me. So if you ever have feedback about episodes, something that really resonated with you, something that has changed your life or your business, we totally want to hear about it. So please don't be shy and please reach out. Also, sharing the podcast is super helpful for getting the word out and also making an impact to the lives and businesses of your friends and family. So don't be shy, share, spread the good word. We really appreciate it over here. And if you are just finding us, please hit that subscribe button, whether you are listening on Apple Podcasts, seeing this on YouTube or LinkedIn. There is a path to getting to the podcast platforms. Hit subscribe so that way you never miss an episode. So thank you guys for joining us again for another episode of Eye Openers. I have Kelly with me today. Hi, Kelly.
Hi there. Good
Thanks
to be
for
here.
joining us. Can you give me the official pronunciation of your last name?
It is Schaefbauer.
Schaefbauer.
Strong
Yes,
German name.
Yeah, I was not going to embarrass myself and try there. It is Schaefbauer.
Yep.
Well, thank you for coming on today. You know, Kelly and I have already had like several conversations together, spanned a few hours. So this is not going to be our first time chatting, but that means we've vetted the conversation already. You guys are going to get a great episode here full of some powerful nuggets for you and your business. But we never just dive straight into business. We talk about what we are drinking first, because I don't know about you, but my business and life insights are definitely powered by caffeine and coffee. So I actually got out of the house this morning, which doesn't always happen. This new work from home life keeps me at home usually, but I got out to a local cafe here in town in Santa Barbara called Helena Avenue Bakery. Oh, that is just delicious. They have the world's maybe largest cinnamon roll. I'm not sure. But they have some pretty good coffee too. So shout out to them. What are you drinking, Kelly?
So we talk about caffeine. I have some caffeine sensitivities.
Okay.
So 12 noon and I have to start being careful. Mm-hmm. So I've concocted my afternoon kind of my pick-me-up to be a splash of coffee, like a third with some coconut milk, some cocoa powder, and some cinnamon and stevia to kind of balance all that out. So it's been kind of my mocha of sorts that's not too highly caffeinated for me.
That sounds delicious.
It was wonderful. Especially we just got snow, so it's a nice warm afternoon kind of a comfort.
Tell everybody, where are you? Where are you located?
I'm actually in Lake Elmo, Minnesota, just right east of St. Paul, Minnesota, and we have been getting snow constantly this last few weeks. So I'm looking forward to springtime.
Yeah, well, that drink sounds like it'll certainly keep you warm. I'm the same way. Like I don't have caffeine after noon. 12 is my hard stop. So here in California, it's still just 25 minutes before noon. So I have a few minutes to finish it up. But no, I just deeply believe in doing it for sleep management. So I don't have caffeine 10 hours before I'm going to try to bed. And I have same thing. I have rules when I try to stop using screens, stop eating 3 hours before bed. All these things kind of really aid to getting really great,
which all important.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Okay. Well, we will all be looking for that little magic recipe for your delicious drink. But let's give you this proper introduction here, because you guys, he is not on this show because he's a fantastic barista, which is just an added bonus. But Kelly has a depth of business background here and acumen that he's going to share with us today. So you are an entrepreneur, right? You are the founder and lead analyst at Aligned Operations.
Yep.
And there you guys implement managerial leadership practices that align people and purpose because you believe that every person deserves the opportunity to do fulfilling work in an organization that provides clarity, confidence, and trust. So that is a very powerful and purposeful message. Kelly, do you want to expand upon that a little bit for the listeners?
Yeah, it sounds great when you say it, way better than when I do it. Yeah, it's evolved. I started aligned operations, informally about 10 years ago. I had an IT company and sold it, and just it really had limited success. And I was really frustrated by it. I enjoyed it, but hated it. That classic kind of business owner, and just really wanted to find out what's the right way to run a business. How can you, grow and evolve a business to a point to where, financially rewarding, but also enjoyable for everybody in the organization, not just myself, but the people in it. It's been that journey of really trying to learn and understand. Actually, one of the key elements out of that is to be a lifelong learner. It's you never have it done. There's always a little bit better a way, a tweak. And then the other part of it was just I didn't want to just be an educator or somebody who did speaking. We wanted to really provide a solution. For the longest time, I was kind of anti the word coach. That's not the end of the story, as you know, for me with the coaching community. That I felt I wanted something more tangible, something that's more practical that people can learn and then implement. And so it's been a combination of my technical background and my love of small business and operations, and I am a pretty classic visionary, from the traction EOS world. I'm very, very much that specifically, about million ideas. Right. But at the same time, I liked the practical side of management and operations to how do you materialize that vision and make it. So that was really my journey, is trying to put that together to a way that we can offer a solution.
You're a bit of a unicorn there, because I find that a lot of visionaries have no interest in figuring out what those details are and ironing them out and determining best practice and defining the process. So it does make you unique there and try to bridge that gap.
But I like to figure those things out. But what I have learned as I've been engaged now, I should finish that thought around. I've embraced the coaching community, and I've found great value in an alliance there. Really where we started looking at the evolution of our solution into competency development for the people in an organization. That alignment is around their capabilities and competencies. And we're strong on identifying the skills and knowledge they need, but we've found there's a missing piece to that where they're not going to be effective unless they want to do the work, and they're engaged. And so that really led me down the road of that's not us. We are not that sort of, they call it a soft skill, but Simon Sinek, he uses the word human skill. I think that applies a little bit better there. So I will have to say I now have a whole new appreciation. That's been the focus of our growth really now, is to partner with that coaching community to really provide that comprehensive services or offering to small businesses to really have effective teams.
Right. And I love hearing your own kind of learning process or evolution of how you've come around to it. I also went through a phase of hating the term coach, or just really, I had an issue with the whole coaching industry because, it was like a low bar of entry, but a high bar to success.
Yeah.
And didn't understand that middle area at all. And so
I think the word undervalued what you do.
Right.
Especially somebody like you with at the level that you're doing that work at, I believe that.
Yeah, it's the industry itself is not doing itself any favors by, having all these different accreditation and whatnot. We really need a central body to help kind of level up the practice itself. Right.
I would agree.
Work. Yeah. but beyond that, like I love this idea, right, of combining, I guess, what other people would refer to as the soft and hard skills. And I know you're not combining them, but what you're doing is you're really bridging that gap there where there's the what, and we're looking at, the skills and things that we want people in the organization to learn. So there's the clarity, the alignment, and there's attaining that information. But in the middle there is all about like motivation, attitude, right? Like getting the people to kind of, you got to meet them where they're at, but then you also have to figure out how do we get this group to kind of like work together to create something bigger than the sum of its parts, and easier said than done, right?
I agree. Yeah, for sure.
Why did you get to this? Because one thing I've noticed about you guys is there's so much leadership stuff out there, or even operating systems like you mentioned, EOS, that are really focused on the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so much of the rhetoric in those programs is how to make the entrepreneur's life better, how to, create systems and whatnot so that it's great for them. But what you've done is talked about how it can be better for everybody. And you're looking at, the different jobs, maybe even job design, scopes of work or whatever, so that everybody has an enhanced experience at work. How does that play out for you guys? What do you see when you come to your plan?
So that interest or that desire to create that was really out of following Simon Sinek's work, about workplace environments, about it being about the people. I love his analogy about snowmobile in the desert, that it's people are put into these work environments where we're just not naturally meant for that. And so it really got me thinking about, in combination with my primary guru is Elliot Jacques, who wrote the book Requisite Organization. That was really my first real deep dive into management and operations. And he had a quote that when I was kind of getting into this, that really clicked for me about, if you want to change the behavior of the people in the organization, you need to change the organization. Both in that structure and then the managerial leadership practices there, that it's up to you as a business owner to take that responsibility. And that made it something that it's a little bit scary, that responsibility of those people's, they're there 8 to 10 hours a day. That's on you for them to have a fulfilling, satisfying, experience there. But I like the idea that I have something I can do about that in that. And that's where we started the idea of clarity. That first step in it, and even the Gallup Q12 poll talks about number one is clear expectations. Start there. And there really wasn't, some of the EOS are starting to get there now, but we start with that. We start with what's the structure, what is the work that's required to deliver on your promise to everyone within the organization, to your clients, and just to try to really take a systematic approach. And I brought in my database background in there. All this stuff relates. And, so we talk about this task inventory, and it's this no fun, not very sexy activity of like defining all of your work in the form of a task, which we love. We enjoy that. It's very satisfying to see that come together. Even, I will say, as business owners, I typically don't like it. When we do work with them, they start to light up a little bit. There's a sense of clarity, and, everything starts to liberate them a little bit, and seeing how this is really what's in their organization and what people have to do, or there's clarity about what we're doing well and what we're not doing well now that we've framed it and we've given it a name.
Yeah.
So that's really been that focus around the clarity piece and being our focus about that management part that people don't really want to be part of. It's more the leadership stuff.
Yeah.
I think it starts with nuts and bolts.
Right. So how do you guys establish clarity in a way that's maybe different from other approaches people have seen?
Well,
I think a little value here for
that task inventory. It's a lot of work. It's an investment, and we always talk about businesses evolving from startup, or we call it proof of concept, and then evolving into we're really saying $1 million company. What does it take to go from startup to $1 million revenue? everybody wants, you're legit when you can say, that's kind of a threshold there that, along your path. So to us, it's invest in those simple things. It's the basics. Take the time to do it. Find people in your organization that like to do it, or bring it to experts like us that will work with you to pull all of that knowledge in your head, that institutional knowledge that's part of everybody else, and we bring it all together. Take the time to do that, and then systemize and leverage off of it to do the rest of it, like role descriptions and your SOP documents, where we get real granular in how tasks are executed. We use that as a basis for performance monitoring. The KPIs, we base them on that task inventory that's built into a hierarchy. There's a breakdown from tasks to functions, departments. We have kind of a whole taxonomy of how we would organize these things. But that's the thing about it, is people it's not fun necessarily. They just want to be reactive, keep their clients happy. But you've got to get in the front end of that and invest in those. And then you teach your managers, as you build that management team, to embrace those practices.
Right. I say this all the time in my work, but structure equals freedom. And I know that it's tedious. I know it's so much easier to just be reactionary and just do the client work, right? But if you ignore working on your business to just work in your business, you will never have that 30,000 foot up perspective that helps you see, oh, here are the growth challenges, or here's why we can't scale, or here's the bottleneck, or whatever. And if you're never working to alleviate those pressure points, then you won't have this amazing system kind of working for you, right? So you guys heard it. The first step is to do a task inventory, whether you're working with Kelly or not. That's the best way to get started on that. What do you find if people do take this on? Let's say your clients, right? They're invested in this work. They want to make these changes. What is the most challenging part of this for them, or where do they get hung up?
Time. It's been, I would say it's not even time, it's priority. Again, I think that part of our challenge, and it's been my kind of Achilles heel, or just to be able to present the urgency and the value of doing that return on investment, because they're so reactive in their thinking at that point in their business. They're short of time, they're short of money, resources, they're short of expertise. I'm guilty of it, as growing my business. It's, what is the next step, and so it's typically that's why when I present to 100 people, and Tom Foster's another person who's a big proponent of Elliot Jacques' work, who I follow. He has a great management blog that I got the pleasure to see his, to experience his 3-hour workshop. Mm-hmm. And he talks about, you've present to 100 people these ideas of managerial leadership. Of those 100, 10 will stay after and want to learn more. They're interested. And then he will engage those 10. And then he said, of those 10, 1 will implement these strategies. Oh, so wow. When we talked, he and I, about that, I agreed with him. That's kind of about the same ratios that I'm seeing. So our goal is to get 2. If you get 2 of those 100 to implement, at least not just exactly the way we do it, but try to implement and execute on these practices in some way, shape, or other. We believe ours is the best way, because it's integrated and it's systemized about these basic functions and these basic practices.
Right. Yeah. And then, at that point, you're getting into some stuff that I love to chat about, right? Which is what drives that behavior change? What makes up those 2 versus the rest of those 98? And what is motivating them? What's incentivizing them? What is the pain point they're experiencing right now that is so great that they're willing to approach that difficult work and make those changes?
Yeah. It's frustrating for me at times, because to me it's so obvious, and I'm seeing the drama in their organizations. I'm seeing that stress, and it's just a matter of, convincing them to take a step back and we talk about documentation. Nobody likes to do documentation. But we've found if you do it as a team, if you have a partner in documentation, somebody who's watching it and documenting it as you do it, they tend to, the Zoom technology has been phenomenal for how we execute one of our services, where we call it a show and tell. We do a Zoom, we record it, they show us and tell us what they're doing. And then the next day, or even that night, we'll watch that recording and translate it into this task inventory for them. So that we're trying to make those barriers to lower and easier and make it a little more fun for them.
Right. There are some great software out there now that will transcribe and turn it
yes.
in, right? Just leverage AI, make it easier for yourself.
Yeah, we're trying to augment some of that with what we're doing on the human side of it too. Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. I love that. So we're talking about you, the consultant and the problems you help solve for others. But I'm curious, what's the greatest opportunity in front of you guys right now? What are you looking at as a company?
Yeah, so I look at business growth and development on two sides. Can you deliver the service in a way that satisfies your clients, keep your promise, and then also can you create demand for it? And so right now, from the delivery side of things, getting our team going, I'm comfortable with doing this work. I love it. I enjoy it. I've got one of our values is practice what we preach. So I'm trying to now bring on some people, to take over a lot of that work where I'm overseeing it, and then eventually getting somebody else to oversee that side of the business so I can focus on demand. I think there's a great opportunity with lifestyle workplace to where we can do it. Like I said, our work, it's very remote work from home. So we're looking at semi-retired folks that have some business experience. We're flexible in their engagement. It can be a 5, a 10, 15 hour a week engagement with us. And then I maybe you should use a better word, kind of that uneducated youth, those people, those young adults that have some business acumen, but they haven't been able to go to college formally. And they're looking for some sort of career in business where we want to bring them in and train them as an analyst on our solutions on helping these small businesses to do that work. So I see great opportunity for building that workforce. And then on the demand creation side of it, it's about those alliances we talked about. I like it's particular with the coaching community. How can I engage them for good referrals back and forth? Or even I'm trying to do more of a complete full offering to our clients to where we're doing what we do, but also bringing in that engagement, how to do a good one-on-one, how to train. I don't know if train's the right word, or make your managers aware of, are their communication skills, what happens in confrontation, those things that I don't like to do. I'm really going to focus on the alliance and just my referral partners in general around that. And and then from a higher level, marketing and kind of the digital world, I do LinkedIn posts regularly. I enjoy that. I'm a PowerPoint fanatic. I do a lot of that kind of stuff.
I can confirm that he has got a lot of decks that they're very helpful.
Yeah. Yep. And then I, as far as reaching those business owners to hear what we have to say, that's been something that's a continued. I just hired a speech coach. I'm going to engage in some more public speaking to try to get the word out and to reach an audience in a way that I think can be meaningful around that. I think that's something I have done it in the past when I had my IT company and I enjoyed it. So I'd like to do more of that.
Yeah. Kelly, what I really appreciate you is you embody that lifelong learner mentality. And it's also what you talk about in your work. But I have huge respect for that integrity of doing the thing you also talk or teach other people to do. That takes a lot of, well, it takes a lot of discipline to stay in line with your integrity in that way. But I think it ultimately speaks to the value that you're bringing to the marketplace, that's how you guys show up. And I really like the distinctions you're making too, and how you're looking at your business from, hiring more technicians that can really help you guys, deliver on your promise there, and then looking at your pipeline or demand, as you put it, right? And looking at different components of that, and marketing being a component of that. So just even how you drew distinctions there and looked at different departments of your business. And that is so valuable for a small business owner to start to think that way and see their business that way. So I know for sure you guys can definitely bring a lot of value to these different organizations. It has been so great to just hear your wisdom and little, moments of insight, or like we call them here, eye openers.
Yeah.
Like just a small piece can really change everything. If you implement one thing, like for me, I like that separation of thinking about what's the next area of opportunity for my business from a tactical side, like from the actual service that we have, versus the opportunity side of demand and looking at pipeline. So that's an insight that I had in looking at that way. And I'm going to take that back and implement that with my team. So thank you. I hope that you guys have also had moments of insight while listening. I would love to hear it in the comment section, whatever platform you're seeing this on. If you're with us live here on LinkedIn or YouTube, or if you're seeing this after the fact, on these websites, or these episodes are also posted on my website. You can feel free to leave a comment there. We love hearing from you. It also shapes the guests that I bring on, the content that we discuss, and the insights that we try to shape for you. So Kelly, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for offering to come on and share with us again. How can people reach you?
Yeah. Well, first, it's been my pleasure. I always enjoy our conversations. And LinkedIn is really probably the best. I'm pretty active there. It's easy to find me. There's not a lot of Kelly, Irish first name, Schaefbauer, German last name. I was born on St. Patrick's Day, so that's why I've got a birthday coming up here to celebrate. Yeah. I'll probably be turning 49 again. So
great year.
But yeah, LinkedIn, Kelly Schaefbauer, pretty easy to find. Our website's there. We are doing a name change to our company here coming up. So we'll be doing a promotional around that. You'll see that on LinkedIn. You'll see it on our website as well. So we're moving from aligned operations to aligned management partners. We really feel that management is really a better word to describe what we do than kind of operations was. So,
right. Especially as you were expanding upon the telling us, the different components. I agree. Well, we'll make sure all of that's included in the show notes. Wherever you are seeing or hearing this, you're going to have access to Kelly, and you can also reach out to me. Thank you guys so much for being here, for listening to this episode, for subscribing, and for sharing. All of it makes a huge difference in who gets to have these moments of insights and eye-opening things that can change the way that we lead and show up in our business and our lives. Until next time, thank you guys. Thanks for joining us.